the streets of Chicago are still bleeding. Tommy Egan walks away from Season 2, not as the underdog, but as the man with the crown in his hands, and every enemy watching. But the crown in this city isn't made of gold, it's made of bullets, blood, and betrayal. And now, with his empire hanging in the balance, Tommy's next move could be the one that makes him king, or buries him for good. Season 2 of Power Book 4. Force didn't just end, it exploded. The final episodes pushed Tommy Egan deeper into Chicago's criminal underworld than ever before, and every decision he made came with a cost. By the time the dust settled, Tommy wasn't just fighting for survival. He was carving out his name, in a city where every block belongs to someone, and no one gives up territory without a fight. The season built to a boiling point as Tommy went head-to-head with multiple rivals, not just one crew, but a tangled mess of enemies with shifting alliances. He wasn't only taking on the Flynn family, whose grip on Chicago's Irish mob roots had started to crack, but he was also navigating new players in the game who weren't afraid to test him. And with Vic Flynn beginning to walk his own dangerous path, Tommy found himself in the middle of a power vacuum that could swallow anyone whole. But Tommy's rise wasn't just about brute force. He made calculated moves, forming partnerships when it suited him, breaking them just as quickly when they stopped being useful. One of the most intense arcs was his uneasy alliance with Diamond Sampson. The two had moments of trust, moments of tension, and moments where it seemed like the next gunshot could come from either side. But in the end, Tommy knew, in Chicago, friends are temporary, enemies are permanent. The bloodshed wasn't without consequences. The season took key players off the board, some by Tommy's hand, some by sheer chaos. Bodies fell, and with every loss, the balance of power shifted. In the final stretch, Tommy made a move that was as risky as it was bold, stepping fully into the role of leader, no longer hiding in the shadows, no longer pretending to be a smaller player than he really was. The closing moments of Season 2 left fans holding their breath. Tommy had power, but also a target on his back. He had made too many enemies to count, from the Flynns to rival gangs. Two dangerous outsiders circling the city like sharks, smelling blood. And now, heading into Season 3, the question isn't if someone will come for Tommy. It's who will get to him first. This setup is more than just another season's cliffhanger. It's the perfect storm for a man like Tommy. He's smart, ruthless, and driven by loyalty to his own code. But in a city where loyalty changes with the wind, and where every handshake hides a knife, one wrong move could be fatal. Season 2's finale didn't just open the door for Season 3, it kicked it off the hinges. Tommy has taken the throne in Chicago's drug game, but the people waiting outside that door aren't coming with gifts, they're coming with guns. Tommy Egan has never been the kind of man to play defense. If Season 2 taught us anything, it's that when the world pushes him into a corner, he doesn't just push back, he takes the whole wall down. That's why going into Season 3, Tommy's next move is unlikely to be about hiding or laying low. Instead, we can expect him to expand, to hit harder, and to control Chicago in a way that no one else has before. One of the biggest questions fans have is, where does Tommy strike next? He already has a foothold in multiple territories, but Season 3 could see him reaching beyond Chicago's city limits. In the world of power, expansion always means new enemies, but it also means new opportunities. The Chicago game has been fractured, the Irish mob is losing control, rival gangs are fighting each other as much as they're fighting Tommy, and the police are spread thin, trying to keep up. For Tommy, that chaos is gold. He knows how to play enemies against each other until they're too weak to stand, and then move in to claim what's left. But here's the catch. Every time Tommy grows, his problems grow too. If he moves too fast, he risks bringing in bigger sharks, crews from other cities who will see his rise as a challenge. There's also the looming shadow of the Flynn family. Even with Walter Flynn gone, Vic and Claudia are far from finished. Claudia especially has proven that she doesn't forgive or forget. And she's smart enough to make her revenge slow and painful. If she decides to unite with another crew just to bring Tommy down, it could force him into the kind of war that leaves no one standing. Then there's Diamond. Season 2 ended with a complicated understanding between him and Tommy, but peace in their world is as fragile as glass. One bad deal, one broken promise, and Diamond could turn from ally to enemy overnight. And if that happens, Tommy won't just be fighting for expansion, he'll be fighting to keep what he already has. Season 3 might also see Tommy facing heat from outside the criminal world. The police have been circling for a while, but if the feds get involved, things could change fast. Tommy's smart enough to keep a low profile when needed, but the bigger his empire gets, the harder it is to stay invisible. And if law enforcement decides to make him their top priority, we could see Tommy playing a dangerous double game, making moves in the streets while dodging heat from the law. But perhaps the most interesting possibility. Tommy might start building something more structured, a real organization, not just a collection of street crews. He's seen what ghosts built in New York, and even though Tommy does things his own way, the idea of building a legacy could tempt him. That means new soldiers, new lieutenants, and maybe even someone stepping up to be Tommy's right hand, if he can trust anyone enough to give them that role. In the end, Tommy's next move will likely be the same as it's always been: fast, violent, and unexpected. He's a survivor, but he's also a conqueror. And in Season 3, the streets of Chicago might finally learn what it really means when Tommy Egan decides he wants everything. The world of Power Book 4. Force lives and dies by its characters. In Tommy Egan's story, every face you see is either a weapon or a target, sometimes both. Heading into Season 3, the cast we know, and the ones we've yet to meet, will shape every move Tommy makes. Let's start with the obvious. Tommy Egan himself, played by Joseph Sikora. He's not just the center of the story, he is the story. Season 3 is going to test him in ways we haven't seen before. With the balance of Chicago's underworld hanging by a thread, Tommy will need both brains and brutality, but the more power he takes, the more people he'll have to watch closely, including those closest to him. Next, Diamond Sampson. Isaac Key's performance as Diamond has given Tommy one of his most layered relationships in the series. In Season 2, their partnership survived betrayal, tension, and bloodshed, but their alliance is like a loaded gun on the table. At any moment, someone could pull the trigger. In Season 3, Diamond could either be Tommy's greatest weapon or his most dangerous rival, and that uncertainty will keep fans on edge. Then there's Vic Flynn. The death of Walter Flynn cracked the foundation of Chicago's Irish mob, but Vic's story is far from over. He's stepping into a leadership role he never fully wanted, with enemies all around him. His dynamic with Tommy is unpredictable, sometimes allies, sometimes adversaries. If Vic decides that Tommy is the root of his problems, Season 3 could see them on opposite sides of a full-blown war. And we can't forget Claudia Flynn. If there's one character who embodies quiet, calculating danger, it's Claudia. Season 2 showed she's willing to take big risks and play long games. Losing control of the drug pipeline to Tommy was a blow, but Claudia isn't the type to lick her wounds for long. Expect her to come back sharper, more ruthless, and possibly aligned with new forces outside Chicago. On the new faces front. Season 3 could introduce fresh power players, rival gang leaders, ambitious lieutenants, or even out-of-town bosses who see Chicago as ripe for the taking. The Power universe loves to drop in characters from other corners of its world, so there's always a chance we could see crossover appearances. Someone from Tommy's past, maybe even from his New York days, could arrive with unfinished business, and that would turn the board upside down. Supporting players like Diamond Sampson can't be overlooked either. His bitterness toward Diamond and his inability to stay out of trouble make him a constant wildcard. Every bad decision he makes could ripple back to Tommy, whether as a direct threat or as the spark that starts a much larger fire. And then there's law enforcement. A determined detective or relentless federal agent could enter the picture in Season 3. Bringing a different kind of danger. Tommy can outshoot rivals, but dodging the law is a longer, more exhausting game. If a new cop character rises to the level of someone like Angela Valdez in the original Power, we could see Tommy pulled into a dangerous cat-and-mouse chase. The beauty of Force is that every character has their own agenda. No one is purely loyal, and no one is purely an enemy, not forever. That's why Season 3's roster matters so much. Every old face brings history, every new face brings mystery, and Tommy will have to figure out fast who's here to help him climb. And who's here to push him off the top? Season 3 of Power Book 4. Force isn't just another chapter, it's the moment where everything Tommy Egan has built will be tested. And fans have been hungry for one answer, above all. When is it coming? While Starz has been careful with official announcements, The production timeline tells its own story. Filming wrapped months ago, and several cast members have dropped hints on social media behind-the-scenes shots, cryptic captions, and those knowing smiles that say, "It's coming sooner than you think." Based on the show's past release patterns, new seasons have often dropped in the late summer or early fall. That means we could be looking at a return in the second half of the year, possibly between August and October. Asterisk, of course, release dates in the TV world can shift. Network schedules, post-production delays, or strategic timing can all move the premiere forward or back. But one thing is certain, Starz knows the demand for Force is high. After the way Season 2 ended, they won't keep fans waiting any longer than necessary. Expect the marketing machine to kick into overdrive a few weeks before the official drop trailers, posters, cast interviews, all designed to remind everyone that Tommy Egan is about to take over again. Asterisk, and here's why the wait will be worth it. Season 3 has the perfect storm brewing. Tommy holds more power than ever before, but the cost of that power is higher than it's ever been. He's surrounded by ambitious allies, ruthless enemies, and opportunists who would sell him out in a heartbeat if it gave them an inch of territory. Every step he takes will be a gamble, and every decision will bring him closer to either complete control or complete destruction. Asterisk, for longtime fans of the Power universe, this is the Tommy we've been waiting to see, not just Ghost's partner, not just the hot-headed enforcer, but the mastermind of his own empire, and that makes him more dangerous than ever. Season 3 won't just be about winning. It'll be about surviving the kind of war that could leave Chicago's streets soaked in blood. Asterisk. So here's the real question. Can Tommy hold on to the crown? Or will his enemies finally take him down? Will alliances hold? Or will they shatter under the weight of greed and betrayal? And when the final credits roll on Season 3, will we be looking at Tommy Egan, King of Chicago? Or just another name on the list of men who thought they could rule it? Asterisk, get ready. When that release date hits, the streets will be watching, the players will be moving, and the game will change all over again. Tommy's next move isn't just about business, it's about survival. And in Force, survival always comes at a price. Asterisk, Tommy Egan's story has never been about playing it safe. Every season, every episode, every single move he makes is a risk, and Season 3 will be the biggest gamble of his life. The streets of Chicago aren't built for mercy, and Tommy knows it. He's seen friends turn into enemies, deals turn into traps, and victories turn into funerals. And yet, he's still standing, still fighting, still climbing. Asterisk, when that first episode drops, expect the pace to be relentless. There will be no slow build. Force has always been about striking first, hitting hard, and leaving everyone wondering, what just happened? Every character will have their own agenda, every alliance will be fragile, and every bullet will count. This isn't just another season. It's the moment Tommy either cements his rule, or loses everything he's fought for. Asterisk, the game board is set. The players are ready. The only thing left is to see where Tommy moves first, and who won't live long enough to see his next one. Asterisk, so now it's your turn. What do you think Tommy's first play will be in Season 3? Will he expand, strike back, or finally trust someone enough to stand beside him? Drop your predictions in the comments, because when the streets start talking, we all know the game has already begun. Asterisk, and remember, when Season 3 hits, there are only two kinds of people in Chicago, the ones who stand with Tommy, and the ones who get run over. Asterisk.